Of Alocha Meruba, bombshell sicha, and like every sicha,
that's what we need.
This is a sicha on a story, a very important story in the parsha, and the Rebbe nitpicks on a Rashi, but then you come out with the unbelievable light in your eyes, understanding the story and the sub-story, and also a lesson of Avodas Hashem.
Yes.
Let's read very quickly. Let's read just the story. And then we'll look at the two Gemaras and the Rashi, and then we'll talk about this. Parshas Vayeshev, the middle of the Parsha. Vahi beis hahi, vayered Yehuda meis echad, vayet ad ish adulom ish meichira. Vayar sham Yehuda ish abas ish knani ish meishua, v'kechav v'yavalei got married. Vatar v'tel b'mikesh me'er, vatar v'tel b'mikesh me'oina, vatar v'tel b'mikesh me'shela, v'yevachsiv b'lidutos. He had 3 sons with his wife. Vayikach Yehuda ish al er b'chor ish matamor. Vayi er b'chor Yehuda Rabbi Hashem v'yemesei Hashem. V'yem Yehuda lo'ina boi el eishes achicha v'yavam leis v'akam el zera l'achicha. Vayeda oinan keloi lo yeh azara v'hoya im bo el eishes achi b'shichas arza l'bilti nesan zera la'achiv. Vayera b'eini Hashem asher asa v'yam az gam oisei. So the two sons, they sinned. And they didn't want to have, they did the Aved of Zerah Vatol, didn't want to have children, so Hashem killed them. So now, the second son died. Vayam Yehuda l'tama kalosei shvi almona beis avich ad yigdal sheila bani ke'amar pen yomas gam hu ke'echa v'teilech v'tomar v'teishev beis aviyah. He didn't know why they died. It was their sin. He didn't know. How should Yehuda know? He didn't know. But he was scared. A woman married her first son, he dies. Second son dies.
Ask her what happened.
So he said, "Go home." Vayirba yomim v'Thomas b'Ashua eishes Yehuda v'Yenochem Yehuda v'Yal al goyzes eitzonei hu v'chire re'eu adulom etim nosa. So Vayal, he went up with the people that are shearing the sheep, and he had a buddy, he had a friend, Chira, and they went together to the city of Timnah. And someone told Tamar, and he told her, your father-in-law is going up on the road Timnasa to the city of Timnah, Lagusayna, to shear the sheep. Chazal say, Rashi brings it, that she was a tzadekis, and she had an unbelievable quest to have children from Yehuda, from the descendants of Yehuda. So, but she saw that this is not going to work out. So what did she do? She had a trick. Vatosar bigde al manusa me'ola vatachas vatzoif vatisala vateshev befesach einayim asher al derech timnosa ki roasa ki godel sheila v'hiloi nitna loi liisha. She realized that Yehuda is not going to marry off to the third son, Sheila, and she wanted to have a child with him, so she disguised herself as a Zoina. Vayireh Yehuda v'yachshavel a Zoina. And Yehuda saw her, and he thought she's a Zoina. Ki chisas afana, because she covered her face. Well, why would he think she's a Zoina? Because she covered her face. So Rashi says because he would know it's his daughter-in-law, and not she covered her face. So he thought that it's a Zoina. Or another pshat is that Rashi says that because chisas afana, she was always so tsanua, he didn't really know what his daughter-in-law looked like. So now, because
it's when he was traveling, right?
He was traveling, and he sees a woman. It doesn't make sense that a Zoina should dress up with the Shmoyna Begudim, because usually a Zoina does the opposite of that. So Rashi says, yeah, she really didn't dress up much. It's but when she was in her father-in-law's house, she was very tznuah. Be it as it may, he didn't know it's his daughter-in-law, and he asked her if she would want to sleep with him. We learned actually last year or 2 years ago, if you remember, because Rashi, the Rebbe had the thing that the Umas Ha'olam were Godra Atzramon Mina Aroyes. So to be Ma'ana, to be Ma'ana women. So he said, he wanted to make sure it was done with consent. something which is a in today's society, the past year or two, Gevana Groisa, it's a big debate, consensual relationship. So that's what the pasuk says. Vayomer havana ove elayich. He wanted to make it very clear that this is a consensual relationship. Ki lo yoda ki chalosi vatomer matiteli kitova eloi. So what are you paying me? Vayomer anoich shalech gdiizim in atzoin. Oh, she said, are you going to send me a gdi? Vatomer, that's fine. Im titene rovan ad shalachecha. Give me a guarantee. You're going to sleep with me and then orcha porcha. You're not going to be here. So I want a guarantee. Give me your credit card. What should I give you? She immediately became pregnant. He sent the payment with his friend, and he couldn't find the zona. Where's the Kadesha? Kadesha means a woman that's muchenes leznus. Kodesh is a man who dedicates himself as nus. Kadesha is a woman.
But it's Kadesha. Kadosh is the opposite.
That's also pshat. Simple pshat is Kodesh means muzman. He dedicates himself, or she dedicates herself to this job. So it's called Lo Yeh Kodesh B'nai Yisrael, Lo Yeh Kadesha B'nai Yisrael. They said, we don't know. It was never on the road to Timna. We've never seen that there should be a regular zoina hanging out there. Yehuda, forget about it. Tikachlo. Let her hold on to my mata, forget about it. Penia lavuz, I'll become a bezoyan. Hine shalachti agdi azev ata lematzasa, forget about it. Keep quiet about the whole thing. Let her be burnt for whatever reason why she deserved to be. She said, I am pregnant to the man that owns these chesomas and psilim and the makkah. The child was from me. Rashi says to pshat. One is that lo yosef oid ladaita, that he didn't stop, and he married her, or fakeret, he didn't marry her.
But when you jump and said Hatziuha right away, take her to burn. So I don't say, come on, who did you sleep with?
That's a good child. But that's not what we're going to deal with tonight. Tonight we're not dealing with that. And he believed Vayitan Yod Vatika Chamiledes Vatikshar al Yod Shan Lemazay Tzadisha Vekemesh Yod Yod Zach Toim Ma Paratz Salach Poretz Vekeshmoy Poretz. The one kid jumped out, and that is Peretz, and then came out his brother Zorach. Okay.
We have both of them.
We got both of them. I just read it very quickly, the story, because we're going to one pasuk. We're going to zoom in on one pasuk, but as usual, because it's negate to know the whole story, and there's going to be a word here and a word there that's important, and again, the Rashi sheds light on the whole story. This is Gemara in Bavli and a similar Gemara in the Yerushalmi. It asks that there's a contradiction here. The Isa beGemara Bavli soited afyuda madal ksiv Vayeshev Simshon Timnasa. V'ksiv hine chomicha oile Timnasa. So where is the city Timna? Shimshon, in the entire story of Shimshon, he's always going down to the city of Timna. He's always going down to the city of Timna. What's the story of Shimshon? The story of Shimshon we all know. We're from Tanakh, but just a quick refresher. The story of Shimshon is about three parakim, more than three parakim of Tanakh, but the music turns on. Perek Yud Gimel is when he's born, and the whole story of how he's born, and the Malas that he should be a Nazir. But Perek 14, 15, 16 is where the music really goes on, and it starts. The Perek Yudalet starts. Vayed Shimshon Timnasa, Vayad Isha Betimna Mebedes Plishtim. He always finds a Plishti girl he wants to marry. The first wife, the second, the third. He always wants a Plishti wife. Vayal Vayagid Love V'Liyimah. Vayem Isha Isa Betimnasa Plishtim. Vayem Love V'Yimah Hein Bevnois Achecho B'Chol Ami. Isha she'ata hoylech lakachas isha miplishtim ha'arelim. You can't find a good Jewish girl? Vayeshev Shimshon alav, forget about it. He is shara be'enai. V'avi v'immer lo yodu ki me'Hashem hi ki soyanu mevakesh miplishtim. Oh, that the music is on. He marries with every woman, a few thousand plishtim die. With every woman, the first woman he marries, and he said a chida story because he killed a lion, and then he had a whole chida, and he said the whole because he ripped up the lion with his hands, and then on his way, and he went down to Timnah. When he went back up, the lion was already dead, and there was a whole bunch of bees that went in there, made a beehives, and there was so much honey. And we came back. He said to the people, to the family, he said, I'll tell you a chida, I'll tell you a
riddle.
A riddle. So he said, Ma'az me'etzei mosuk. So they said, they didn't know what it was, and he said, he made a bet with them. He said, he made a bet with them, and then the kid said the wife begged him to tell him the bet, and then the whole marriage fell apart. But then he went because then he was kicked out of the house. So you kicked me out of the house of my wife. He took 300 foxes, and he tied their tails together, and he put lapidim of Aisha on their tails, and they ran around all the fields of Plishtim. Can you imagine 300 foxes and their tails on fire, and he ruined all their fields. So there was, because he was angry that his father-in-law kicked him out of his house.
Who is this?
Shimshon's father-in-law kicked him out of the house. Yeah. So now they killed Shimshon, his wife, and the father-in-law. Oh, you killed my wife and father-in-law? He went and killed them even more. Every wife he married, it cost them a couple of thousand plishtim. There was always a story, and there was always a couple of thousand plishtim that died. Here he took the chamor, the lechem, the chamor, and he just killed 1,000 of plishtim. They were dying. Every woman he married.
But he realized that there are more.
But the final one was the Lila, and the Lila, she got out of him the secret, his power, because it was his hair. They cut off his hair.
That's it.
Shimshon alecha plishtim. They came and they captured him, and they tied him up, and they made a big. They knocked out his eyes, and they made a big celebration. They're going to serve their gods, and they had him in a building, and just in the roof alone there were 3,000 people. And they're watching how they're making tzchoik of Shimshon, and he said, "Chaskeni v'amseini achapam." He asked the achapam azeh, and he said to the nar, "Please put me in between the two main beams that are holding up the building." And he held onto the pillars, and he gave it one knack, and everything fell down. More people died in that incident than all the plishtim that he killed his entire life.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
And even though he died, they were still terrified of the Jews for 20 years after he died. They were still terrified. The Plishtim were terrified of the Jews. Okay. This is the story. So Timnah, he's going down to Timnah because he goes down. He's always going down to Timnah. So, frek the Gemara, ksiv. The reason I'm telling the details of the story in Shimshon in short is because also it will be relevant here to understand the story. So basically we have here two stories. The stories of Yehuda, which happens again with a shiksa around Timnah, and the story of Shimshon, again with a shiksa around Timnah.
Yehuda wasn't shiksa, was Tamar, his daughter.
No, but
I'm sorry, I misspoke. Not a shiksa, with a okay, Kadesh.
Okay.
So two stories, and they both happen in Timnah. A story with Shimshon and Timnah, a story with Yehuda and Timnah. There seems to be a contradiction that is just a technical contradiction, but when we go into the story, we'll see that there is a lot of meat into the story. Ksiv, it says in the one pasuk, Vayed Shimshon Timnasa. Shimshon goes down to Timnah. Uksiv, it says another pasuk, Hine Chomicha Oila Timnasa.
Up and down.
It's going up. So what's going on? Going up and going down. To get to Timnah, you got to go up the mountain. You got to climb down the mountain. By Shimshon, every time he goes down to Timnah, it says Vayedit Shimshon Timnasa. And over here it says Hinechemicha Oila Timnasa. Omar Belazar Shimshon Shenes Ganaba. Ksiv Beyerida Yehuda Shenes Alaba. Ksiv Beyaliyah. Shimshon. The bottom line was that there was a very sad story, and the end of the story is a gnai. So therefore, it's a Yerida. It was spiritually, he went down. And Yehuda, there was a spiritual elevation. So it says Aliyah. Shmuel bar Nachmani Omar Shnei Timna Asaya. There were two cities called Timna. Chad b'Yerida v'chad b'Aliyah. Two cities called Timna. The Papa Omar Chad Timna Havet. There was one Timna. The Osim Haigis Yerida. The Osim Haigis Aliyah. Ah. Sehr gut. Sehr gut.
Small, sure.
Small Schmalker?
That's wrong.
Is this all?
You have to have names.
50% I was right.
Good. So the dritte teretz is Chod Timna Have. The Osim Haigis Yerida. The Osim Haigis Aliyah. Kegoyim Varudnia Ubnei Bari B'Shuka de Narush. That basically there was a mountain. The city was in the middle of the mountain. So if you're coming from the top of the mountain, you're going down. If you're going from the bottom of the mountain, you're climbing up.
Probably over here it's trying to point out maybe Aliyah, Yerida.
Well,
he went there.
No, that's the first answer of the Gemara. No, that's the first answer. The Gemara answers that by Shimshon it was unfortunately a Yerida. And by Yehuda was an Aliyah. From this he had Peretz and Zorach and
Melech HaMashiach came from that.
Right.
His purpose of not going there was not a purpose of down. He was actually, the purpose that he was there is to elevate himself because he was his wife.
Yehuda.
So Yehuda was his wife.
Oh, that's Agich. That's the first teretz. That's the first teretz. That is the first teretz. That Yehuda had an Aliyah. The bottom line is he went up, and Shimshon unfortunately went down. This is the first shiksa that he got involved with, so he ultimately fell. So that's the Lashon Aliyah v'Yerida. But the third teretz is no, that there was a city that was in the middle of the mountain. If you're going from up here, you're going down. So Shimshon was always coming from the top because he lived on the top of the mountain, so he was always going down. And Yehuda was climbing up a teretz. That's the third, a very technical teretz.
But you can say also, every aliyah is also Yerida. Every aliyah you go, it's also Yerida.
You can say better, every Yerida is Aliyah. Isa b'Yerushalmi, the Yerushalmi says in Soit, Kos of Echad Omer, one pasuk it says, Vayedit Shimshon Timnasa, V'kos of Echad Omer, Hinechemicha Oila Timnasa. The Yerushalmi gives off the same three answers, just in a different order. The bottom line is that the last teretz always stays the last teretz, because it's like the least likely teretz, as we'll talk about this soon. Rabbi Omnar, Timnasa, Shnei Timnas have. There were two Timnas, Achas Shel Yehuda, Achas Shel Shimshon, one in the story of Yehuda, one in Shimshon. Simon Omar, Timnasa, Achas, there's one city of Timna, V'lam Kasab Aliyah V'Yerida, Shel Yehuda, Redei Shoysa, L'Shem Shemayim. It's a little different than the Bavli. The Bavli says the bottom line is Yehuda was an Aliyah and Shimshon was a Yerida. But here the Yerushalmi is talking a little bit of a different angle. By Yehuda, someone was doing it L'Shem Shemayim. Who? Tamar was doing all this L'Shem Shemayim. L'Vich Ksibe Aliyah, V'Shal Shimshon, Dei Shal Oyes L'Shem Shemayim, Ksibe Yerida. Shimshon was not L'Shem Shemayim, so he's a Yerida.
Why Shimshon like the...
This is a shayla.
Meis
Big
Hashem.
man.
Meis Hashem. Was Meis Hashem in order to... And
This is punishment.
but Lepoil, the wife of Shimshon, was not L'Shem Shemayim, and Shimshon was not L'Shem Shemayim. So Ksev Yerida, Omer Beivu Bar Nagri, Kagoan Adog Beis Mayim. There's a place called Beis Mayim. Sheyordin lo mi Pelfal Toso, v'Yordin bo v'Oilin lo mitferia. There is Tveria is on the beach, right? Tveria is right next to the Kinneret. So Tveria is on the bottom. And there was a city called Paltosa, which was all the way on the top of the mountain. And there was in the middle called Beis Mayon. So if you went to Beis Mayon, depends. If you're going from Tveria, it's Oila. If you're going from Paltosa, it's a Yerida.
The same thing.
The same thing. The Bible Yerushalmi say the same three terutzim. It's just what's the Aliyah and Yerida Beruchni is a little different, but it comes the same thing. Rashi quotes the words Oila Timnasa. And he says, "U'b'Shimshon u'omer vayedit Shimshon." So what's going on? It's a contradiction. Answer: Timnasa b'shipui har hoysa. It was the middle of the mountain. So therefore, Because b'shipur ahar hoisi yesheves, because it was on the shipur of ahar. Oilin la mikan, v'yordin la mikan. Because Timnah was here, you go up. When you're going from the bottom of the mountain, you're going down. When you come from the top of the mountain. That's what Rashi answered. Such a simple Rashi. How could we sit and learn a whole sicha for an hour? Such a one-line Rashi. One-line Rashi. What could be complicated about this? The truth, do you think for 2 minutes is very complicated? If you look in the pasuk, there's one pasuk after the other pasuk. It talks about Yehuda being oila. Some of I made it in bold, and some of the pages you have it in bold. So the other ones you don't have it in bold. But if you look in the top of the page, look in pasuk Yud Aleph. I'm sorry, Yud Beis. Pasuk Yud Beis. Pasuk Yud Beis. You even have it on. You have it underlined.
Oh yeah.
So it says in Pasuk Yud Beis that Vayenochem Yehuda Vayal al goyz zaytzoyno hu vechira re'eu adulam utim nasa. Vayal, he went up. So why didn't you ask a kasha there? Some of Farshim asked this. So they say Vayal al goyz zaytzoyno. He went up on the tzoyn, but he didn't go up to Timnah. That's a little bit of a crooked pshat, and not only is it a crooked pshat, but Rashi befedish, because it's a crooked pshat, and you might say such a pshat. So Rashi wants to make sure that you're not going to say such a pshat. So Rashi befedish says not that way. Rashi says, Vayal timnos alamad al goyz zaytzoyna. He went up to the city Timnah. You shouldn't make that mistake like all the Mefarshim are going to make. Rashi says, Vayal timnos. So why did, if Rashi is bothered by the contradiction to hear to Shoftim, he should have asked in the previous pasuk. And Bachlal, here's the big cloud that Rebbe had. The Rebbe says, if we find it in dozens and dozens of Rashi, when there's a contradiction between two psukim, Rashi waits to the second pasuk to ask. Why? Because it makes sense. When you learn a pasuk, there's nothing wrong. Later, you get to the the question is later. Right now, today, everything is good. Don't fix what's not broken. It's not broken. You're learning, Rashi says, I'm teaching a 5-year-old Pshuta Shel Mikra. The kid didn't start learning Yeshua and Shoftim yet. It says, Vayal Timnos, he's going up to Timnah. Anything broken here? Nothing. Kid has a question? No question. 5-year-old, he didn't even learn more than Parshas Bereshis Noach Lech Lecha Ve'erech Ha'isora Tel Zva. 5-year-old kid. He didn't learn yet Yeshua, Shoftim, and he didn't ask any question. When you get to Shoftim, you'll ask the question. There's no question here. Here, there's no question. So why are you asking a question? It's a klal gadol b'Rashi that Rashi only asks the question when the question comes up. That's a klal. When you teach a kid, you don't give a whole bunch of information. If a kid asks a question, you answer the question. If not, we go on to the next pasuk. Sometimes in yeshivas, kids come, Meforshim. The Rebbe's gave 100 Meforshim. 100 Meforshim. Teach. The kids will verstehen the Rashi, the Gemara good. But that's a Rashi style. Why should they ask a question that's later in Shoftim? And then also technical questions in the Rashi. Rashi says, Ubishimshin Vayedet Shimshin. If Rashi just said, if it actually says, you know it's talking about Shimshin. Why does it actually say, Shimshin? Obviously, when we're talking, it says Vayedet Shimshin, it's talking about Shimshin. So Rashi was mediyek every word. Why does he say this? So the Pasha is like this. The Rebbe goes through the 3 pshatim in the Gemara. The 3 pshatim in the Gemara are all good pshatim and pshat. And it's a pella why Rashi doesn't bring the other 2. The last one is the least likely pshat that you would think in pshat. The first pshat that the Gemara gives, that aliyah v'yerida means beruchnis. And you think, pshuta shemikra, that's not true, but Rebbe brings a half a dozen rayas. For example, it says, Leichereid. The Eibusha says to Moshe Rabbeinu, Leichereid kishichas amcha. Rashi says, Reid megdulascha. There's a lot of pshuta shemikra. Aliyah v'yerida doesn't mean only climbing up a mountain or coming down a mountain. Aliyah v'yerida in pshat, according to Rashi, maybe not Ibn Ezra, but Rashi is pshat. Aliyah v'yerida means to be elevated, promoted or demoted. That's Aliyah V'Yerida. That's fine. So Rashi could say that pshat. Rashi chooses not to say that pshat. Second pshat is that there were two cities of Timnah. If you look in Tanakh, but the Rebbe brings that ayah from Sukkim, that if you look about this, the land of Yehuda, there was a city of Timnah in there. And then when you look two prakim later in Yeshua, in the land of Don, which is so far, I mean, if you take a car today and you drive from the land of Yehuda to the land of Don, if you're going 60 miles per hour, what is that, 4-hour drive?
There's no 4 hours drive in Israel.
Sure there is. Basically, Yerushalayim is the heart of the land of Yehuda. The land of Don is
in the north.
Is part of it in Ramat HaGolan and part of it is in Syria, the land of Don. Right?
The end of Israel.
Yerushalayim to
Yerushalayim to Syria
2 hours.
2.5 hours.
is Binyamin Yehuda.
Kavila to
Huh?
Syria.
3 hours. No, but depends. Today with Kvish Shesh, it's about 2.5 hours. But in the old days, if you went on the what's it, Kvish 90,
Yeah.
if you go down with and you go on the side of the Jordan, it's about a 4-hour drive, 60 miles per hour. We're not talking about a camel here.
Okay.
The camel, it takes you about 2 days and a
It's
night.
too far from each other.
It's the other ends of Eretz Yisrael. So there's two places called Timnah. So what's that's not a bad shot. That's not a bad shot. So why does Rashi pick the third shot, Dafke? Why the other two pshatim work well a pshuta shamikra? Okay, so here's the Rebbe's biur. Oh, it's like brilliant. The Rebbe says that a 5-year-old, the Rashi doesn't need if it gets so complicated, like you need the Rebbe Leo Mizrahi or the Maral Prague to explain it. That's already way too complicated. At that Fabrengen, there were people from the Mizrahi movement. The Rebbe smiled at them. Because the Rebbe says, who needs the Mizrahi? But you don't need complicated pshatim. A child could ask a simple question here. How does that's a difference if when he went to the city of Timnah, if he went climbing up a mountain or down a mountain? How relevant is it to the story? In the Torah, there's a lot of things that happen to the Ovis. Like we said the other day, the color of the toothpaste that Yehuda used that way, the Torah doesn't tell us. Was it Colgate or Crest? Which toothpaste did he use that day? Torah doesn't say. Why? It's not Negaya.
Not Negaya.
It's not Negaya. So what's Negaya? Even more important stories by the Akedah, for example. It says only once. It says Va'aleyu la'oila, and Ashitaka says that Va'aleyu doesn't mean the Eibishter really said Aleyu v'loy shachatay. And the whole thing, but otherwise it says Va'aleyu shaloy l'lach adorim Hashem alecha, and then it says Vayelech al hamokim, Vayavoyu al hamokim. Why? Even though it went up the mountain, it's not true. What do you mean Vayelech al hamokim? It's not Negayah. Vayelech al hamokim, Vayavoyu al hamokim. What's Negayah? They went up the mountain, down the mountain. They got there.
Not relevant.
They got there with a helicopter. They got there with a camel. What's Negayah? They got there. What's Negayah if the road to the Haramariya was climbing up or going down, the Shipur up? What's Negayah? It's not Negayah. It's not Negayah. When the Torah says Aliyah V'Yerida, usually it's Negayah. Usually it's Negayah. For example, Altira Meridom Mitzrayim. Rashi says, L'fishay Meitzari. The David said, oh, don't worry. Alu l'sholem alavichem, because there's always a reason why the Torah says Yerida and Aliyah. That's not just a technical thing telling you how the road goes.
It's spiritual.
Yeah, it has to be something. And would the Torah tell you if the signs on the road said 25 miles per hour, 50 miles per hour? No, the Torah doesn't say why.
It's not relevant.
It's not Negayah. So the child is going to ask, what's it done Negayah? What's it done Negayah to say that the person came to tell Tamar, hey, you know what? That your father-in-law is going up. So what's Negayah Oila? What's Negayah Oila? What's Negayah Oila? In the previous pasuk, Rashi doesn't have this question. Why? At the beginning of the parsha, it says, "Vayi ba'esei, vayered Yehuda me'esechov." What does it mean, vayered? Rashi says the brothers started to feel very bad about the sale of Yosef HaTzadik. They felt very bad about it, and they said, "You're to blame, Yehuda. You're the man. You're the man." We always listen to you. Had you opened your mouth and say, no, this is a bad idea, we would all listen to you. So they blamed him. They all got together. It's your fault. That was it. They all pointed the finger in Yehuda and they said, that's it. You're not the man anymore. You think you're the big guy here.
Yarad Migdula.
Yorad Migdulasai. Yorad Migdulasai. By the way, here also you see Vayed doesn't mean walked up or walked down. Vayed means Hayridu Migdulasai, Rashi says. So you could say that it says Vayenochem Yehuda Vayal al Goyzes Eitzoina. The Torah is talking here. The Eibishter knows what's going to happen. And besides the fact this is already retrospect. And then the Vayeshev knows what's going to happen eventually. That from these children come Mashiach. So the Eibishter is telling the story. The Torah says Vayal, he now had an aliyah because eventually from this came a big aliyah. But the next pasuk, there's a goy. There's a goy. Some goy. What? Which goy? I don't know. Johnny. Ivan. A goy. Came to Tomar. Vayugad leTomar leimer. Hine chamicha oila. What's Negeya that he told her it's oila? What's Negeya that he said this detail oila? It's not the Torah is talking. A goy is talking here. What's Negeya oila? So that's why Rashi is bothered. The contradiction is not what's bothering Rashi. The contradiction is coming to answer the question that's really bothering Rashi. What's bothering Rashi is, what's Negeya? Goy came to tell Tomar that you should know your father-in-law is coming to Timnah. So why does the pasuk tell us that he told her, Hine chemicha oila simnasa? Rashi says, oh, this was a very important piece of information. This was a critical piece of information. Because there's a contradiction. By Simshon it says Vayed. By Yehuda it says Vayal. You must answer that the city was B'shipua Ahor. Now, there's two roads to get into the city. You can go to the city from the bottom of the mountain, climb up, or you can go now down. It's important to know which direction he's coming. She wants to disguise as a Zoina and to sleep with him. You got to be on the right road.
That's right.
You'd be on the wrong road. You could sit there till today. Tamar would be sitting out that Samayim Hazeh waiting there. So therefore the pasuk tells us, you should know that the road that's oila, because there's one road that's yoided and there's one road that's oila. So they told her oila. That's what's bothering Rashi.
I have another answer. Why hinechamich ole? Why is going up? You have time. Aliyah, it cannot go fast. It's going to slow. He's old man.
You can put a makeup.
Prepare yourself and go up there.
Okay. So that's the pshat. What's bothering Rashi? Again, that's when the previous pasuk wasn't bothering Rashi. The Eibishter is saying, "Vayenochem Yehuda Vayal." He had an aliyah from the whole story. But the second pasuk is bothering Rashi. Agoy is talking to Tamar. What's Negeya for the Torah to tell us that he said Hine chamicha oila? So Rashi says there's a contradiction. In one pasuk it says that Vayed Simshon to Timnah, and the other pasuk says Vayal. It was the middle of the. So therefore she has to know which road he's coming at.
I see.
Now with this we can also explain. The Rebbe says like this: Rashi is still bothered by something. But then people don't build cities in the middle of a mountain. They don't do that. It's a very unusual thing. It's true today, and we'll get to that in a second. You go in Europe or places, it's gefährlich. You drive with a car, and you're driving these narrow streets, and you're going up. You get tfas. So some places. No, the truth is tfas and there's gefährlich.
It's on top of the mountain.
It's the top of the mountain. When you go some places in Europe, fadreta places, where they built a city taka on Dafka middle of the high, and it's crazy. It's crazy. It's gorgeous, but it's crazy.
It's hard.
First of all, it's an impossible city. I just recently summers on some of these cities. It's all said the real estate is so cheap. Just go around.
Nobody wanna go there.
No one wants to live there. You can't park your car. You have to put it over there. Otherwise your car is going to roll down. Gorgeous old houses, a few hundred. Different cities.
Middle of the mountain.
Yeah, Mediterranean places.
Why you there?
Gorgeous, but it's a middle. There's two things. Some in the days, even today, some places pick to build on top of a mountain. The other day I was reading about real estate in Miami. That there are some neighborhoods in Miami that are on a high elevation, 10 feet above sea level. In Miami. These were all, it's not beach territory, right? It's not beach waterfront properties. Traditionally, a lot of minorities lived there. Schwarzes lived there, Yidden lived there. Lately, the Schwarzes are being priced out. What happened? So much, the insurance for flood-prone places became so expensive. And the fact that there's so much uncertainty with the weather became so acute that developers decided that the higher elevation, because you don't know what's going to happen in 10, 15 years. You're investing in a property, $500 million, $1.5 billion, and it's a half a foot above sea level. In 15 years, this is going to be under the sea. It's going to be under the sea. So these neighborhoods became desirable when they're developing a huge development. Recently, there's articles about this. It became very desirable. Now, listen, but there's still a certain desire in beachfront property. So there are people in the ancient world. There are people that built cities on top of the mountain. Why? It's a big schlep to get the rocks up there. It's a big schlep to get the vegetables up there, to get the grain up there. If you got to do business, it's a schlep and 3/4. But there is one big advantage. What's the advantage? Enemies.
Nobody want to fight with you.
You get up there. If you have your the shomrim kol hayom v'chol halayla, and as soon as you hear the enemies are coming, you throw rocks.
That was before planes.
And that's it. So that's why in the ancient world a lot of people built a city on top of the mountain. There were people that also built in times of tranquility in the bottom of the mountain, because it's much easier to do business. If you got to get stuff up the ship, off the ship, you have to get merchandise. If you got to do business from city to city, much easier when you're in the bottom of the mountain than on the top of the mountain. So some people built them, but in the middle of the mountain, Lechem Mishugana built in the middle of the mountain, the city. Which Michigan does that? There are some places, I said, in the world, yeah, but which Michigan does that?
What is the advantage of it then?
Well, there's no advantage here. So therefore, one might say that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So maybe a person say a doichik pshat and say that by Yehuda means he was early, he went up to the top of the mountain. He really was on top of the mountain. And by Simshon, you need to mean spiritually. Or whatever, you might say some funny pshat. Therefore, Rashi said, Ubishimshon hu oimer vayered Shimshon. In the story of Shimshon, maybe 5 or 6 times, every time it says that he went to Timnah, it says vayered. It can't be that every time, if the Torah wants to tell you he had a Yerida Baruchnis, to tell you once. If 5 times, no. That means the Gashmi, the city was on a road when you went down. That's why Rashi.
What was irrelevant though? Still got the problem.
Well, it's irrelevant because Rashi just wants to make it clear. Rashi wants to make it clear that this was Shipua. Because it is important, because Rashi wants to say that there were 2 roads. Because Rashi wanted to get.
Shimshon, how is it important?
It's not negated to Shimshon. Rashi's not talking about it in Tanakh. Here, it's negated to here. That's why Rashi goes back to his pshat to say that this city was Bishipuahar, and the person that came, the Shegitz that came to tell Tomar, he said, Hine chamicha oila. Why does the Torah have to tell us that he said Hine chamicha oila? Because there's 2 roads. It was really Bishipuahar. And that's why the Rebbe says, why is the Gemara says, Kegon varudnia ubebari v'shukadanash. The Yerushalmi says, Kegon beismayin, sheyorden lo mepaltosa v'erden lo metveya. Why can't you just say, B'shipuahar? You have to, you don't understand what Shipuahar is? You don't know Hebrew? Get yourself a Milon, Ivri Angli, and you'll know what Shipuahar is. Why does it Rashi have to say Kegon, and 3 examples, and Yerushalmi gives a different example? Because it doesn't make sense. Who builds a city in Shipuahar? So the Gemara understands that you're going to say this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. So therefore the Gemara says I have 3 places, and Yerushalmi does one better. Yerushalmi says that there was a place called Tveria, and there was a place called Paltosa, and in the middle they built a city. Why? Because now it made sense. When you have sometimes 2 cities that are close to each other, sometimes it'll a third, because people will decide, you know what, we can do business with this one and this one. We can be a metavach between the people on the top and the bottom. Sometimes it does make sense to build a city in the middle of the har. And that's why the Yerushalmi brings this thing, Beis Mayin, Sheyerden Lemepaltos Avel Lemetveya. That's what the Gemara has to give an example, because you might that. That's why Rashi says, Ubeshimshin, who Omer Vayedet Shimshin. Why did they say Beshimshin? Because it says in the Pasuk of Shimshin 5-6 times. So now you know I can prove it to you. That really Timnosa was in the middle. And from the top you go down. Shimshin lived on top of the mountain with his parents. He always went down. And Yehuda was going up. And why is it relevant to the story? Because now she knows where to go as a Zoyna.
Shimshon was not.
Shimshin definitely was considered from the Shoftim. It was a Shofet.
He was Shofet. How you go to all the Palestinian girls? Shofet has to be top priority.
Yeah, exactly. So here's our first lesson. The first lesson we have. The first lesson we have is we see the story of Shimshon and the story of Yehuda. What's the difference? The women that ended up with the woman that ended up with Yehuda did it l'shem shamayim, like Yerushalmi says. The women that ended up with Shimshon were all shaloi l'shem shamayim. Were all shaloi, very much shaloi l'shem shamayim. Chazal have many descriptions about those women. The common denominator of all of them is that all those women were as far as l'shem shamayim as one can imagine. Very far from l'shem shamayim. So therefore, by Yehuda it was an aliyah. That's what the Gemara says. The first one was an aliyah. The Rebbe, at that time when the Rebbe spoke to Sicha, the Rebbe was very into the project of Mi Yehudi. Bothered the Rebbe a lot that Achmon al-Itzlan, that in Israel, that they were till today that the law is that a person is a Jew and has the right to return if he's a Jew and that means his father and mother are Jewish, or if he was Megayah and they left out in the law the word Kaloch. The Gatus could be a fictitious Gatus, and this is not only the Goy doesn't have an Aliyah, but you're tricking the Goy, and the Goy has a big Yerida from this. And the Rebbe would bother him, the Rebbe a lot. It says, coming Soini Yisrael, people that believe neo-Nazis, Yechmach Shemom, who are for $25, they buy a piece of paper, say they're Jewish, they marry a Jew, and they're living in Eretz Yisrael. The Rebbe says we're going to have from them Tzoras Tzrudas. We know today that we're having from them Tzoras Tzrudas, as we spoke about this Barichas and a couple of the other Shurim. The bottom line is, right now in Israel, there's Tzoras Tzrudas from these people. Right? They're the big Erev Rav today in Israel. They're going. And the Rebbe says...
They school together with the Jewish girls.
That's a big problem. When the Arabs are muktzamach masmiyos, Rahman al-Islam, a few girls, it happens. But in general, the Arabs are muktzamach masmiyos. But both ways, yeah, both ways. But these Russian goyim, they look white. Yeah, they look white. It's a big churban. It's a big churban. The Rebbe saw it in the 60s and the 70s. So the Rebbe says, Pashut, you see that what happened by Yehuda eventually also was Rus. The whole thing of a Ger Tzedek we learn from Rus. Basha Telech, Basha Tomus Amos, Vashama Kober, that Nomi said to Rus, you should know it's not easy to be a Jew. There is Tilha, today if you didn't keep Shabbos, it's no big deal. Today if you keep Shabbos, it's a big deal. Rahman al-San, you get killed in Bezdin. And not only you get killed, but there's Skila and Serefa, and also there's two different cemeteries. As she said, I don't care about Shatelach, Telach, Shalom, and there's Yichud. I'm not going to have Yichud. I'm not going to accept. Oh, she was a Ger Tzedek. So from this, there's an Aliyah. There's an Aliyah. The Shidduch that comes from that comes David HaMelech gives Shidduch Shprachas the Eibishter. From the story of Shimshon, which was a fictitious Gatus, comes a big Yerida. But what's the Yerida for me and you today? That's the question. Talk to Rebbe like this. The Yerah from this story for me and you today is like this. We're standing a week before Hanukkah. And there's a Maimah from the Frierdiker Rebbe that says, Mi Ya'ala B'Har Hashem. When a Yid goes to Avodas Hashem, he's always walking on a mountain. What's the inyan of walking in the mountain? There's an inyan of walking in the mountain is like this. That if you're driving up a mountain, either you're going up or your car is rolling backwards. There's no easy standing in one place. It's very hard to stand in one place. Either you're going up or you're going down. Like you see b'muchish when you're driving up a steep mountain and there's traffic, it's shreklich. It's shreklich. Because
keep your foot on the brakes.
Yeah, it's shreklich. Because either you're going up or you're rolling backwards.
Especially if it's snow and people stop.
It's gefährlich. It's mamish gefährlich. So that's what happens. And avodas Hashem is har Hashem. There's no such thing saying I'm stagnant. I don't have to be moisif. I'm good. I'm a frum yid. What I'm doing is good. What my father did was good. And what my zayda did. Why do I have to do more? But the choshech is getting bigger. So therefore, just like Kol Yom Yom Meruba Kalkulos Mishal Chavera, he has to have a Midah Tova. The Kol Yom, he has to try that the Midah Tova should be more Mishal Chavera. Because ultimately, if we're not going up, we're sliding backwards. So therefore, Yid always has to be going up. And where do we learn this? From Mitzvahs Chanukah. Mahadrin, Mina Mahadrin, is the first night is one candle, next night is two candles, however the pshat is in it. But the Milam, from here we learn Milam Mekodesh Ve'Meridin, like Beis Hillel. So, yesterday I lit one candle, and tonight I light one candle. So what's the shlach? We say, no, yesterday you were called Mahadrim and Mahadrim. But today, if you light one candle, not yesterday's candle, a fresh candle, a new candle, not yesterday's oil, today's fresh oil. But if yesterday you lit one candle, and today you still light one candle, you're not Mahadrim and Mahadrim. You were yoided. You were not oiled. You were yoided. So from Chanukah we see every day the first night has to be one candle, and then two candles, and then three candles, and then four candles, and 5, 6, 7, 8. You always have to be Ma'ila Mekodesh. Cloud is a double Lashon Chazal, Ma'ila Mekodesh Ve'Meridin. So one shot is, you could say Ma'ila Mekodesh, and through that Ein Beridin. And a second shot you could say that it's to emphasize that Ayid always has to, just like the it says in Tanya, Mashbiyin Oisa Tihit Sadik Ve'al Tihit Rosh, Shemaim Chazal, which is a Ma'ila Mekodesh Ve'Ein Meridin. Ma'ila Mekodesh Ve'Ein Meridin. So Rashi, that's what Rashi is saying over here. And Alter Rebbe said that Rashi, besides being Pshut Shel Mikra, is also Yena Shel Torah, has this wine of the Torah in it. So Rashi is telling us, you should know, when it comes to Aliyah V'Yerida, when it comes to going up and down, like the story of Yehuda and the story of Simshon, which is Aliyah V'Yerida, so you should know, you know why? It's B'Shipua Ahar Hoisi Yesheves. Because life is, the whole life is B'Shipua Ahar. We're always scaling a very steep cliff. So therefore, either you're going up or you're going down. The Stock is staying in one place. You can't be stagnant in one place. So either you're having a Yerida or you're having an Aliyah. Therefore, a Yid has to always be Ma'ilem B'Kodesh Ve'Ein Meridin. And that's the lesson that we could take from this story. Also, just like the Poshta Pshat, the first Pshat in the Gemara.
Also, she told him, Tilim.
Yeah.
What she asked him for Yeravon?
Yeah.
That's the Chanukah Manera.
Right. The Bnei Sos has a thing. All three things in Meramas Chanukah Manera. But here the Rebbe has a different Meramas Chanukah Manera. It's the union of Ma'ilem B'Kodesh Ve'Ein Meridin has to do with the candles, and also here B'Shipua Ahar, that the Bahar Hashem Ayid is always going up a step. That's the way life is. Always the thing in life is that we always have to increase. Agam L'Choyd is very hard, because otherwise we're slipping downwards. Beruchnius. We're always slipping downwards, like the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, that the Nefesh HaBaham is always getting stronger. But just from the fact that you're alive in this world and you're more, the Neshama wasn't Gan Eden, had no exposure to Olam Haza. Just by the fact that you're eating and drinking and sleeping and so what do we have to do? We always have to strengthen the Nefesh Shalakis, because it's always a slippery slope. Life is b'shipua ahar. Therefore, either you're having an aliyah or you're having a yirid. You can't stand in one place. That's the lesson that we take out tonight. So tonight, again, to summarize what the Rebbe's beautiful chiddush is that Rashi is bothered by Akasha. What's Negeya that the Goy came to tell Tomar that the way he went to Timna is Vayal? The answer is because it was b'shipua ahar. So there's two roads. She has to know where he's coming from. And what's the Iron Avodas Hashem? The Iron Avodas Hashem is life is a shipua ahar. Either you're slipping down or you're going up. There's no in between. There is no in between. The Rebbe was always moisef takon and say, it's hard to keep up with the Rebbe.
If you don't go up, you go down.
If you're not going up, you're going down. If there's no mayim, the Torah is nechoshim atrai krabim krichanai. So the Eibush will help him. They're coming out of tonight. We should take a strong hero that we should always be mailim b'kodesh. Just like by Yehuda, that it was an unbelievable aliyah. From this came Peretz, which Chazal say Peretz the Moshiach. You hear Peretz? Shenemar Allah Poiretz lefonenu. That so the Eibush will help him that in our achlota tonight that we're going to be mailim b'kodesh. That for sure we're being Ma'alim HaKodesh because Tuesday night is going to be a Fabring in Yutas Kislev, and everyone sitting here was already Makabal Achlota to do a Masechta. Almost everyone here took, the guys took some tough Masechtas. There's some guys sitting here that took some tough, and even not tough Masechta, 30 Daf Masechtas also a big Masechta. So Baruch Hashem, we're gonna have a big aliyah coming from this Chag HaGeula, from Yutas Kislev, and also from Chag HaChanukah. We're gonna have a big aliyah. So we should be zoicha that our private aliyah should be a big aliyah, and also the aliyah of Klal Yisrael should be aliyah. The aliyah should be v'olam Mashiach b'har tziyah and lishpet asar eisa v'hoysel Hashem amlucha b'vias Mashiach tzedkeinu.